Hello and good day to you. Welcome. Andy here. And it's Monday evening today. Monday evening at about 6:30. And thanks to Trevor for the link. This was shown on ITV News. It was on Parliament TV as well. So if you were watching it today, this afternoon, you would have seen this. It's an hour and 42 minutes. So I'm not going to show the whole thing. I've sort of gone through it a little bit and watched a bit of it and got sick. I want to go and puke up, but because of all the bullshit that's coming out of their mouths. However, there was a few questions at the end, which I thought was quite appropriate. A lot of those ministers are asking very good questions. One of which has admitted that he's going to vote against it tomorrow, because obviously the vote is tomorrow. Well, that's quite surprised that they were having this discussion today. And you will notice by the picture here, the video, that on the right hand side of the House of Commons, the area with hardly anybody in it, that's the Tory party. So there is nobody here from the Tory party to oppose it. There's three in the front there. Rest on the left hand side are all Labour, as far as I know. So you can see how much support there is for discussing disability benefit cuts. Now, one of the, I'll see if I can find it. It was, bear with me, we're just going to.
In the TIMS review to make sure future changes make sure this vital benefit is fit for the future.
Rachel Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I spoke to Mike, one of my constituents, last week, who's a disabled person who speaks on behalf of many disabled constituents across Warwickshire. And he is really pleased that he's going to have the right to try work. He's also really pleased that disabled people will be treated with dignity and will be part of a co-production of these new proposals. But he is still fearful that these changes may mean losses for disabled people like him and difficult situations. Can she reassure Mike that her minister will come to meet with him to discuss these changes, and also how in particular we look at fluctuating conditions like ME and like MS, which my partner suffers from, so that we don't lose out in those things, and we make these changes something that can be positive for every disabled person up and down the country.
Okay, before we get the response from her, Miss Kendall Mint, let me just clarify to you. They keep on about this. Lots of the idiots out there, the MPs and everything, they all think that there's you cannot do it at the moment, that you cannot try work. You can. You can try work. You're not going to lose any benefits and you can go back on where you were before. It's called permitted work. What you can do, and I've mentioned this many times, is that you can work up to 16 hours a week and earn around about £500 a month. It's probably a little bit more than that now. But you can earn £500 on top of your benefit. Now, let's assume that you were self-employed, doing something self-employed, and you couldn't work 1 week. No problem. All you're doing is having a self-employed. You'll be doing your own accounts, obviously, or paying an accountant to do your annual accounts. It doesn't matter the hours that you do, because you can work up to 16 hours. You can do that now if you're on ESA, and there is a way that you can work self-employed if you are on UC as well, although it's a bit more complicated because they've obviously made it difficult. So it's a bit disingenuous for these idiots to say that we want something put in place to be able to try work and not lose anything, because you can do it now. But nobody, and I've not heard anybody say this ever, that it's possible right now without any changes. Obviously, bear in mind that PIP is not an outward benefit, so that is irrelevant. If you're saying that you want to go work, that's fine, you've got to work. If you don't want to go work, that's fine too. It's not an out-of-work benefit, but ESA is for disability and working. So if you are not able to work, then you can claim ESA. So, there you go. So let's hear the answer.
We absolutely want to work with MPs, disabled people, their organisations and other experts as part of co-producing the TIMS review. And I think this point about fluctuating health conditions is really important and something that we have to crack for the future, because so many people have those conditions. They may be able to work one day, not another, 3 days at home, but not 5 days. That we've got to make this fit for the future, because the reality is we're living longer, more of us have disabilities, more of us have 2, 3 or more long-term conditions. The welfare state in its broadest sense, I mean the NHS as well as the benefit system and the world of work, have got to wake up to this, because as we live for longer, we will have to work for longer, but we've got to make that practical and decent.
Clive Efford.
So she's saying basically there's going to be more disabled people in the world, so they're going to cut benefits for disabled people, but more people are going to become disabled in the future. You have to ask yourself, why is that? What's the very strange thing that happened a few years ago when they forced people to do stuff, and now they're suffering, disabled and ill, can't work? Interesting. They caused this, and it's the old thing about problem, reaction, solution. That we've had the problem which they caused, we've had the reaction to that. We're unemployed, blah, blah, we need to claim benefits. And the reaction is, basically, the solution is cut benefits. Does it make sense to me? Because, well, it does make sense. It actually makes complete sense, because what will come next is when they've done the digital everything, they'll be doing UBI, Universal Basic Income. And because you are so poor and you're not able to claim benefits, the offer of money, remember that's the solution, offering money for free for doing nothing, well, allegedly doing nothing, is too big an offer. People will take it. They will grasp it with both hands. Right, let's carry on, because there is another.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a relatively small bill, but one core part of it has now been delegated to the PIP review and will not report until November 2026. So, can my right honourable friend say just how many disabled groups have indicated they want to participate in the PIP review? Because she set out a number of red lines today, which I doubt that they would agree with. And if they were to propose that we do not have a two-tier system, what would be the government's response?
Okay, remember the two-tier system that he refers to is the fact that two people with the same disability, even though they're not the same, let's just say they've got MS and they both claim it. One's already claiming PIP, but the other one's not, and they start to claim it under the new system, and they don't qualify because they don't get 4 points. That means you've got two people, the same condition, one gets it and one doesn't get it. That is two-tier. That's going to be the two-tier system for PIP benefit. Interesting, and it's a good thing that they mentioned it, but they never ever explain what they're on about. Now let's hear what she said.
What I would say to my honourable friend is that the Minister for Social Security and Disability and myself have met with many...
Just stop her there, because I don't know what she's looking at, because she ain't got no papers there. She's not referring to anything written down. So who is she looking at? Really weird. Anyway, I noticed that before.
Many disabled organisations, and he has in fact spoken to many already about this review. We will continue to discuss with them precisely how the system of co-production will work, but I want to assure him that it is serious, that we want to make sure people's views and voices are heard, and I would encourage him as a Member of Parliament to get involved in that process too.
Josh Fenton-Glynn.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. As a signatory to the reasoned amendment, I welcome the listening that's gone on, because a lot of people with disabilities will sleep more soundly in their bed knowing that their benefits are protected. However, can you ask...
They're not protected, are they? Let's face it. Come on, mate. Get rid of the real world. How can you say that they're protected? They're only protected for the time being. And there's nothing in writing about this. Okay? Just because they said that they're not going to do it now doesn't mean that they will do another U-turn later on. Or even when they argue, and she does say it later, I think, or earlier, whenever, she says that people who are up for assessment on the old system will be assessed on the old system. But that doesn't mean anything as far as we're concerned. They're liars. Yeah, I don't think he understands what's going on. Anyway, let's hear the rest of the...
on this specific point, it is for someone who currently receives PIP, but their condition is getting worse.
There you go.
Will they, and they ask for a reassessment for the level of their PIP, will they be assessed under the old system or under the current, under the current system or under the new one?
They are an existing claimant and they will be assessed, let me be really clear about this, under the existing rules.
Right, so...
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I thank the Secretary of State for her statement today. PIP, of course, is a passport to freedom for many other things, such as carers allowance, but many local authorities use PIP for blue badges and bus trap passes. Has the Secretary of State have a plan to mitigate the impact of these potential changes to the eligibility for PIP on blue badges and bus passes for disabled people?
As I said in my statement, existing PIP claimants will continue to have that benefit. It won't be affected even if they have a reassessment, and so too will all those passported benefits. Carers allowance is the best known, but all of those passported benefits will be included in that protection.
Graham Downey.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. Earlier this morning I met with Parkinson's UK, who are very concerned with the changes to both PIP and universal credit, and it will not take account of those with variable conditions. Can she commit that Parkinson's UK will be involved in the co-design of the changes to PIP, universal credit and other welfare benefits, and that any welfare change will fully consider those with Parkinson's and other variable conditions?
I mean, I am absolutely sure Parkinson's UK will be involved closely in the PIP review.
Alice MacDonald.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. 2 weeks ago I held an in-person consultation on the welfare reforms, and many of my constituents were deeply concerned about the proposal, so I do welcome the changes that the Secretary of State has announced in terms of existing claimants. I wanted to just ask about the employment support, and I welcome additional support being brought forward. When will we get more detail of how that will be allocated to schemes across the country, and will the people most affected who need it also be involved in the co-production of those schemes so they work
2029?
Yes, we already do have what we're calling a collaboration committee on the pathways to work funding to make sure it really meets the needs of sick and disabled people. And I would say, as I've said in this House before, you know, it really is about a pathway to work. For some people, just getting out of the house, well, getting out of bed is a huge achievement. Others, going along to a group, beginning to speak to other people, getting their confidence back. So it really is a pathway to success. We will obviously be setting out precise allocations of the pathways to work funding in due course, but I want to reassure members this will be really available in every single part of the country.
There are no jobs.
Tom Hayes.
What jobs are they going to do?
Madam Deputy Speaker, I grew up caring for 2 disabled parents. As a kid, I saw firsthand the harms that happen when the British state routinely lets down disabled people. It's why disabled civil rights activists have a phrase, nothing about us without us. And it's why I'm looking for genuine and meaningful co-production. On Friday, I brought together 7 Bournemouth support organisations and people with lived experience, and they wanted me to raise 2 issues. The first is continuing concern about eligibility criteria. The second is, will the mental health support that this government is rolling out be there in place in sufficient quantity to support potentially new claimants by November 2026?
My honourable friend raises a really important point about mental health support. This government is absolutely determined that there is parity of esteem between physical and mental health. We have already recruited 6,700 of the 8,500 additional mental health workers we promised in our manifesto. We're putting in place new emergency mental health services. We're bringing new Young Futures hubs, which will include mental health support. But I know that my honourable friend, the Health Secretary, is determined to make sure that support is available in every part of the country. And I'm sure we'll be hearing more in the coming weeks and months.
Chris MacDonald.
Which is why, if you watched the video I made about the other day, which was Martin Lewis, who was the chair of a mental health charity, saying that the new PIP 4-point system is going to be detrimental to anybody with mental health. So, they're going to put in place mental health treatment centres, then that's going to be a good thing. However, these people are not going to be able to claim benefits because they don't qualify. What are they going to do about that?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Can I thank the Secretary of State for acknowledging at the dispatch box the anxiety of disabled people. I'm also grateful for the time of the Disability Minister in listening to my concerns about the PIP assessment process, concerns that I now see reflected in the TIMS review. But I'm sure the Secretary of State will be disappointed to hear that on a consultation event in the North East recently, some of my constituents found that the venue was not fully disability compliant. Can she assure me that the participation in the TIMS review will ensure full accessibility?
That's unacceptable, and I will sort it.
Neil Duncan-Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and can I thank the Secretary of State for her statement. I wonder if she will reflect on whether the bill we have before us tomorrow is the best way of making welfare policy, and wouldn't it be better to withdraw the bill and wait for the TIMS review to complete its important work?
Let's hear what she says.
Welfare touches on the lives of millions of people in this country every single day, and making changes is never easy, and perhaps particularly for a Labour government, because tackling poverty and inequality is in our DNA. But I believe we must begin to make these changes to make sure those who can work get the support they need, to protect those who cannot, and to begin to slow the rate of increase in the number of extra people going on to sickness and disability benefits. Because I believe the route to equality and social justice can never come from extra benefit spending alone. It has to come from putting in place the good jobs, the decent health service, the skills, the transport infrastructure, the good world of work that we know is the key to bringing in a better life.
Oh, really? So you're going to put in some decent transport, like buses and trains that we can get on without having to bloody book it and panic about not getting on trains. You can have jobs with employers who are going to employ disabled people with all of their quirks, people wanting time off to go to hospital, for example, appointments they've got, not being able to get to work in the morning when they can't get out of bed. And we're going to have employers that are going to employ people like that and pay the proper wage. I don't think so, matey. I think you're living in cloud cuckoo land. This woman is just continuing with and by the way, she didn't answer the question, did she? He asked whether it would be better to postpone it and come back with a decent bill after the report. I mean, they're only doing the report because of all the furore of uproar that we've had, and the complaints and the objections and the people saying that it's wrong. They've only done that to appease the gods, as I said in my other video. So it's complete bollocks. This woman is a nutter. And I'm sorry to say, but I reckon tomorrow we're going to try and monitor the Parliament channel tomorrow for this vote, and I'm sure it will be big news, because I suspect, and I don't want to say it, I really don't want to say it, but I think it will go through on second reading. I really do. I think that this is where we are. even with everything that's said and the report they allege that they're going to do, and all of this appeasement, they're saying, oh yes, we're going to have disability groups involved and they're going to do it with us and blah blah blah. Don't believe a word of it. I really don't believe a word of it. And if Parkinson's UK are getting involved in this, along with other like Scope, then the government are in trouble, because these are the biggest organisations in the country and they have the financial capacity to take them to court. They do. They really do. So individual groups who belong to these charities, the organisations, are going to be supported by their charities. Now I suspect, well, I don't know, I'm still, right this moment in time, I am still up in the air about whether it will go through or not. But having heard everything, having seen the responses, having seen her attitude towards this, even when asked, would it not be better to postpone it, and she didn't bother answering it. She just said, oh no, we got to push ahead with this because it's beneficial for the whole country, because we're going to have loads of people becoming sick. Well, why not address the issue that you have people coming sick by amending what you did? Because you did this yourself. This is all your fault. It's got nothing to do with anything else. It's actually, well, I say man-made, isn't it? I mean, let's face it, the whole situation, man-made. And I can't say any more than that because we're on YouTube. But you understand what I'm saying. It's not just suddenly come along. In 5 years, it's been building up. And of course, as people get older now, they're moving the goalpost. Old age pension, 67, they want it 70 because they've got no money left. They're spending money abroad and over fist, but they've got no money to pay benefit system, because they're going to say that it's going to cost them 2 billion, but they're going to try and save 5 billion, but they're going to actually save 3 billion because they're going to have to spend 2 more now. It's a complete sham. And I suspect that, as I say, I don't know for sure, and I am on the fence. I'm on the fence because I do think that this will go through. I'm sorry to say. But we'll see. Fingers crossed. Let's have some small amount of positivity, shall we? Because it might well turn out okay. That's it. I'm going to leave it there. It's been 23 minutes so far, and I'll have to edit that down a little bit because it's a bit long. We had some good news as well. The good news is that we have 1 million views. 1 million views since we began. So that's a world record. Thank you for watching. And of course, don't forget to subscribe as well. And tell your friends. Have a good day or good evening. Speak to you tomorrow, hopefully. Oh, hello. Sorry to interrupt the video. Just to say that if you're interested in and keen to watch new episodes before they come out, the best way to do that is become a Patreon. And you can do that very simply. Just go to patreon.com/Andy Wright Online and sign up for a monthly donation, which can be as small as $5, which is hardly anything. If you think about it, you can probably get a cup of Costa coffee if you're lucky. But $5 a month will allow you access to all of the videos that I'm going to be bringing out in the next few months, and you will get them at least a week early, so you can entertain yourself with the new episodes. Sorry to bother you, but now back to the video.